Scalloped potatoes, How to Make Them by Suzanne McCarthy. This is a detailed process and normally takes about an hour to prepare, so I decided to put it together for you in a PowerPoint presentation. First of all, let's look at the history of scalloped potatoes. It's not exactly known the original origin of scalloped potatoes, but it's believed that it started in England. Most people have narrowed it to maybe be in Yorkshire, England, back in the early 1800s. Scalloped potatoes comes from an Old English word called scallop, which means to slice thinly. And as you go through the process of making scalloped potatoes, one of the most important things is that you have to make sure the potatoes are very thinly sliced. Let's begin the process. First, we're going to make the sauce. The cheese sauce is one of the most important part of the recipe. I use a heavy cream, butter, and a mixture of white cheeses. Then I take them in a pan and make sure that they slowly melt together. It's a long process by stirring constantly, and then season with salt and pepper until it's fully melted. Next comes the potatoes. You need to peel off the skin and then thinly slice them. Sometimes I even use a cheese grater to get that real thin slice. I often put them into a boiling water to flash cook them. This kind of gets them a little soft, so it doesn't take quite as long to cook. And then you want to drain off all the excess water. The best part of the scalloped potatoes is the bacon and onions. So for the bacon, basically you want to cut into small pieces, and then you're going to cook until it's crisp. I pull them out and then drain. And I use the bacon grease to do the onions. The onions are going to peel the outside skin and then put into strips. Saute that until it is caramelized and it gives it that rich flavor. In a casserole dish, then we're going to go ahead and add a bit of the cheese sauce to the bottom. This gives the base to the scalloped potatoes. Then you begin layering with potatoes. Potatoes are normally like the thin slices. You can kind of make sure it's covered the sauce completely. And then we're going to go ahead and add the caramelized onions. I kind of scatter them through so that every bite you pretty much have a little bit of onions in them. Then comes the bacon. I use a paper towel to kind of get off the excess grease. Then I take them and crunch them into smaller pieces. Layer that on top of the caramel onions, and you're going to have a beautiful display of scalloped potatoes. I repeat this process at least 3 times to give it a rich taste when it's all done. So the next thing we're going to do is put a layer of sauce, and then potatoes, onions, bacon, and then top with white cheeses. We're going to cover the scalloped potatoes with aluminum foil, and I bake in an oven of 400 degrees. Typically it's an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how soft the potatoes get once it's done. About 15 minutes beforehand, you're going to uncover and brown the top. You want to let the potatoes cool for at least 20 minutes so that all the juices and everything melt together. I had to do a presentation when I put them onto a cooling rack and serve in the casserole dish. In this scene, I did have them for our Super Bowl party. So I served them with little pork sliders, but you can also put any kind of meat or fish that would go well with the scalloped potatoes. Once you've done the process once, you'll probably not want to do it again for a while. This is typically what I serve for our Easter holidays. So I serve it with a baked ham and honey and normally some kind of green beans or pasta with it. This is a wonderful tradition for our family. We have been doing it for probably about 10 years. The recipe originally came from a restaurant that my son worked at and on Boca Grande. And they had a lot of those old traditions with their sides and the way they prepared things. This is their actual recipe that we kind of copied and have been doing for many years for holidays and special events. The scalloped potatoes are a rich, creamy side dish, and with the bacon and onions, people seem to love every bite they have. I hope you have an opportunity one day to try the recipe. Like I said, it is a long process. It normally will take me about an hour or so to just prepare them, and then another hour to hour and a half for them to cook thoroughly within. So be sure you have lots of time if you're going to try this recipe. And I look forward to hearing any kind of feedback or comments you might have. And everyone, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing your different presentations. Thank you.